Hey, this is Carla from the Butcher Babies.
This is George Cormier Fisher from Cannibal Corpse.
Hey, this is Rex from Kill Devil Hill. It's Wednesday 13.
This is Dad from Devil Driving.
This is Motorist from Quad. You're listening to Rabid Noise
on Rabid Radio.
Turn it up.
And we're back on Rabid Noise. That was Satellites, the killer opening track from Cancer Bat's latest new album, Searching for Zero. And the band will be touring the country with High Tension at the end of September. And joining us on the program now to talk all things Cancer Bats, it's frontman Liam Cormier. What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, dude. And thanks for joining us, of course. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited for you guys to be touring here again, especially since you're doing a show here on the Gold Coast.
Dude, I'm so excited. This is something we've been trying to do forever. Basically since, the first time we came to Australia and played just, 3 headline shows. And we were like, this is the best. Why can't we tour here like we can in Canada? And, all we wanted to do is just, do a nice long tour and play everywhere we can. So I'm really stoked that this has finally come through.
Well, man, we don't get a lot of bands on your level here on the Gold Coast, so it's quite special for us. Especially tickets are only $30 as well, which is you'd be dumb to miss it.
Yeah, well, that's the best part is that, I think for us, we look at Australia so much like Canada, in the same way that a lot of bands come to, the same, 5 major cities, if that, and don't normally go out to, the smaller towns. But for us, being a Canadian band, it's those are some of the raddest shows. When you go to the small town and you go to, the crazy, rad local bar, it's that's where everything goes off. So we always try and tell bands, no, you need to, tour Canada as, a real band, the same way that we do. And then it's well, we also have to practice what we preach, you know what I mean? Here we are, only playing, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, anytime we ever come to Australia. And it's okay, we need to actually go to all these places that, the dudes in Violent Soho and the guys in, Parkway Drive have told us there's, amazing shows there. So it's okay, finally, getting it all figured out.
Oh, it's awesome news for us, man. And that venue is just going to absolutely go off. I've been to many, many shows, played there many times. So you're just going to love it, man. And you're touring with High Tension, who are just absolutely kicking ass down here right now. Have you heard those guys?
Well, that's the thing that I'm super stoked on. We know a few, Australian bands, but I know that everybody's always on tour, too. So when we found out that High Tension were going to be able to do the tour with us, it's oh, this is the best. Everything's, lined up, you know what I mean, to make for a good tour.
Definitely, man. It's very exciting. So, your latest album, Searching for Zero, is pretty killer, and you worked with the legendary Ross Robinson on it, which is just a dream for most bands. How was that experience for you?
It was the best. I mean, I'm sure you've heard, tons of stuff, about Ross. There's, these legendary stories about, all of the bands that he's worked with and, crazy stories about, gnarly techniques that he uses and all the stuff. And then you finally meet the dude, and he's, so laid back, super nice, soft-spoken, amazing dude. And we're, just, vibing from day one. This guy is the best. We're, recording right on the beach. It was just it felt like we were in a movie or something like that. It was just the raddest thing ever.
Did he have any advice for you guys, or what did he do to sort of bring the best out of you?
I mean, he kind of just knows how to get you into the mindset. He knows that we're a band that likes playing, gnarly shows. He knows that we have a lot of energy when we play. So for him, the biggest trick is just trying to get you out of the sterile mindset that is the recording studio and to make it feel like a basement show. So we're playing in this small live room. It's all 4 of us packed in there with Ross. We're all sweating, playing super hard, and he's just amping the vibe, trying to get us all charged up so that, the performance you hear on the record isn't somebody sitting in a chair, trying to play the perfect note. It's just it's somebody going off in the way that, you love seeing that band. And for us, we really connected with that because, then you hear that in so many of his recordings. You're like, oh, that's why At the Drive-In sounds so sick. Like, that's why, Blood Brothers, Burn Piano Island sounds like they're going crazy, because they were actually going crazy while they recorded it. So you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, that's like one of your secrets. Like, this is the best.
So it was recorded so you guys didn't all track like individually. It was put you in a room and let you jam it out. Is that
so when we were recording like the drum tracks, it was all of us playing along with Mikey. So again, he's just recording Mikey's tracks for that, but you can hear like some of the vocals that we use like on True Zero are just from Jay and I yelling like the chorus, and that got picked up like in Mikey's drum mics. So like there's so much of that energy that still then kind of like translates into the rest of the recording. But it's like that same mentality then when it came to tracking bass or when it came to tracking guitars, that it's like you're playing along to like live drums. You can hear all this, madness that happened while we were recording those bass tracks, or while we were recording like the drum tracks, or everything is kind of building on itself.
You can definitely feel it, man, when you're listening to the album. I mean, all your albums have that sort of vibe to it, but this album's definitely it feels raw and just real rock and roll, man.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I love listening back to it. I mean, that's the thing, working with like Rats and Kenny, like on DSOL and Hail Destroyer and Bears and everything like that. It's like we definitely, have a certain, way of recording with those guys to capture, again, as much of that live energy. And then it's like you meet somebody else who just has a whole other bag of tricks, and you're like, oh, okay, this is how we can go off even harder. It's just like, just going to keep fueling that fire.
That's awesome, man. Well, we're going to go to the Cancer Bats track, Hail Destroyer now, and we'll be back very soon on Rabid Noise.
Hey guys, just want to take a minute to give a shout out to our podcast supporters, RW Promotion, who are the best in the business when it comes to printing posters, flyers, banners, badges, business cards, you name it. They've got what it takes to help you get everything you need to help spread the word about your band or business. And with a blistering turnaround, they'll make sure you get your product ASAP. So get in touch with Richard and the team at www.rwpromotion.com.au or shoot them an email at info@rwpromotion.com.au. Also want to give a shout out to the guys at Blacklight Art and Design, who in my opinion are the Gold Coast best screen printers. So, we've gotten many band shirts and even our own Rabid Noise shirts done through these guys, and they've also got one of the fastest turnarounds I've ever seen. So all quality prints at competitive prices. So whether it's band merchandise, sporting teams, promotional garments or workwear, they've got you covered. So hit them up at www.blacklightad.com.au or email them at info@blacklightad.com.au. So big thanks to those guys for helping us to bring you this podcast each and every week, and for, of course, supporting the metal scene. So now it's back to Rabid Noise.
And we're back on Rabid Noise. That was Axe Wound with Victim of the System, which also features our guest on the show tonight, Liam from Cancer Bats now. Thanks for still hanging in with us tonight, man.
Dude, thanks for having me, and thanks for playing some Axe Wound too. That's like one of my favorite tracks.
I really dig that band, man. What's going on with Axe Wound? Can we expect more, do you think?
That's the thing. We want to do more with it for sure. The only problem is that all of us are busy with, Bullet just put out a new record, and it's ripping. They're, like, on tour right now with Slipknot and Lamb of God, just, like, crushing it. So it's kind of like we all want to do Axe Wound stuff, but being able to fit it in around our kind of busy schedules is the only problem. But I even want to, like, record more. Like, that record was super fun. Like, it'd be rad to go back into the studio with those guys. And at the very least, to have, like, Axe Wound come and play Australia would be the best.
Oh, man. I could imagine seeing you guys at, like, Soundwave or something. That'd be awesome.
Oh, dude, it's so fun. It's, if anything, just to watch, like, the drummer Jace, like, destroy those tracks. So, like, sometimes I want to, like, just stop singing and watch him play drums.
You could do both, I guess. Well, man, you guys, Cancer Bats, that is, jamming on some Sabbath covers under the name Bat Sabbath, which is Awesome. I've always wanted to start a Sabbath tribute band myself, but under the name Fat Sabbath, because I'm a bigger dude, and just make it a bit sludgier. But I think it's already been done. But how did you guys get onto starting up a Sabbath tribute band? Or
we actually got asked by a festival, Sonisphere Festival in the UK. Basically asked us. We were already playing in the afternoon, and they asked if we would be up for doing like a second set in the evening after Slipknot played, as kind of like an after party sort of vibe. And we were like, yeah, for sure. But they kind of put it out like, you guys can cover whoever you want, like do Pantera or AC/DC or whatever. And so we were like, oh, we should do like Black Sabbath. There's 4 of them, 4 of us. We don't, there's no double pedal or anything weird, so we could use our own gear. And we're like, okay, we'll do that. And we also were like, oh, it'll be super easy. And we were just like, started trying to learn like all those Sabbath tracks, and we're like, this is not easy. This is really like technical, like jazzy, like crazy kind of stuff. So it was really fun, but it was really like, it pushed us a lot as a band to kind of tackle all that back catalog. And then as we did that festival, like it got out on the internet and people saw it and were like, oh, I really want you to do this. So since then we've pretty much toured like Bat Sabbath, like all over the world, which has been really fun. But yeah, I don't know if it's something that we'll keep doing, but who knows?
Oh man, it's a bit of fun on the side. Have you ever met the Sabbath guys yourself?
Yeah, we got to give them an award at the Kerrang Awards in the UK a few years ago, and we got like our picture taken with them, and got to actually like hang out with Tony and Geezer, who were like the coolest dudes ever, which was the best. Like you always want your idols to be like nice, but they were just like bros, like, oh, so you guys are playing Download, like that's wicked. Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, this is so cool. Geezer Butler is the coolest dude ever.
Oh, man, I would have fainted. I would have gone all like Wayne and Garth. That's so awesome, man. Have you guys got plans to release a follow-up to Zero after these run a show?
I mean, we definitely have talked about starting to write some more stuff. I don't know if it'll be like a full length right away, just because we do still have a lot of touring that we want to do. I mean, we still haven't done like a proper headline tour of Europe. We haven't done enough headlining in the UK to satiate our need to rock out there. So, I mean, I still think that we probably won't properly get to it until like, midway through next year. But I do want to like still put out, like 7 inches and stuff like that. And kind of as we're writing more songs, I feel like we can just start putting them out the way them internets are these days. Just put out a 7-inch. You don't need a full length.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't, because I do like getting a full album. But I also like getting little special editions and the odd 7-inch. It's cool to collect.
It's true, and I do I love the way that like an album flows together, and when we have like the actual time, there's also going to be a certain point where we want to just sleep in our own beds and hang out in our homes. So I feel like that will also help motivate writing a new record, being like, oh, we should be home for a year so I can sleep in my house.
Yeah, I guess, because you'd be touring all the time, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, this is the best. Like, the response for the new record has been, like, incredible, and we're getting, like, like, offers to come to all these places that we've, like I said, like, we've been trying to tour Australia fully for such a long time. We want to go still to, like, Central America and South America and all these spots. But at the same time, I'm like, but I really like, I have an amazing girlfriend who I want to hang out with. And like, I have this awesome house. And we're all sort of in that position. So it's tough to kind of like find that balance.
Cloning machines, man. That's what we
do. Exactly. Yeah, there'll be Party Liam and Home Liam.
And then they just swap.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Party Liam would be too crazy.
Really?
He'd probably plot to kill me. Yeah, he'd probably be like, oh, you're straight edge, and I'm addicted to heroin. And I'd be like, oh no, Party Liam, what have you done?
That'd actually be a cool video clip.
Yeah. me battling Party Liam.
Yeah, just out of control.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Yeah, man. I'll definitely pay to see that.